Hello, everybody. This is Elisa, and welcome to another wonderful session of Fem Power Conversation, uncut and unfiltered experience life the way it is. Today, I have a good friend of mine, Elsa Lim, who is a money fitness coach, also from Singapore. And I was just talking to her earlier on about money, sex, and the mother story, and daughters, and whatever it is, and everything in between. And it's so juicy. And so Elsa is also a author of a book, When Love and Money Are Gone. Very interesting. So Elsa she also used to be a insurance agent. Financial advisor. And then she was sharing me why she turned her back against it and then became a money coach instead. And so we talked about so many things about why women are uncomfortable with money and and all that kind of good stuff. So tell us more about you, Elsa. Welcome to the show.
Hi. My name is Elsa Lim. Thanks for the introduction. I became a money fitness coach because I really, during my career, my 14 years as a financial advisor, I had the opportunity to meet many women. And as a financial advisor, I would try my best to educate them on how to take care of their money, how to invest, how to take care of themselves financially. But strangely enough, I find that many women were really not receptive. There were women who I had a client who actually told me that she doesn't want to meet me because she finds discussing money matters very stressful. So she'll meet me for coffee, but she doesn't really want to discuss financial planning. And this particular client of mine, she was one of those. She was one of many clients who just didn't bother to want to review their finances. And I realized that there are many people who are just very uncomfortable talking about money. And in fact, talking to their financial advisor is as bad as going to the dentist. A lot of them would reluctantly agree to meet with me, maybe once in a blue moon.
Do you think
And
it's because it's like revealing something, because our society is so much on success, and so revealing to you how much money they have in their bank account would then reveal how successful or how not successful they are? It's based on like, oh my god, I'm supposed to have this money but I don't, then I feel very unsuccessful and then I'll be judged. Do you feel that
yes,
it's that way?
yeah, there's a lot of shame and embarrassment attached to money. And in fact, surprisingly, uh, the people closest to me do not want to seek my help as a financial advisor. My own family members, they my brother and sister-in-law, they were quite reluctant at first to even talk to me about money. So so I realized that there is this reluctance to really engage with our money. And and in my own family, there's the example of my own father. My own father, he he was very well qualified. He had his own architecture practice, which was going on very well for a while. And then things took a downturn. His business was hit very badly by the financial crisis in the 1970s. He lost money, and he was one guy who wasn't really very good at um, at the financial side of things. He would have been It would have been better for him to engage a very good business manager, but he didn't have a very good business manager. He managed everything himself, and he was one guy who loved to party. He was the life of the party, and he loved to spend money. We had the best things, you know. We had a beautiful house. My father loved to he liked to change his cars every so often. He loved cameras. He loved all the good things in life.
The level of life.
Yes, we would dine in hotels and all that, and all the while he was racking huge. up huge bills. And when his business failed, he wasn't able to pay all his bills. But he hid it from us. He didn't want to tell us what was going on, so we were kept in the dark. And and what happened? The shock came when he died of a heart attack.
Mm.
And when he died of a heart attack, we found out to our shock that he had not made any preparations, like such as writing a will. So things were really topsy turvy when I was in my early 20s. I had to deal with the fallout from all the things which my father didn't do. We had to deal with it when after his death. So that was a very painful lesson, you know.
Do you
And
blame your father?
no, I don't blame my father because it was a wake up call for me. Because I used to think if my father had carried on, let's say my father had become very successful, and if we had continued on with the kind of lifestyle we had as children, I would have been a very spoiled princess. Yeah. You know, have you met some spoiled princesses before in your life?
Of course, I
It's
was once a sport princess too.
yeah, you know, those spoiled princesses, they'll always be spending daddy's money. They'll always be spending, and then later after spending daddy's money, they'll be spending their husband's money. They'll have a supplementary card, and they never get to taste any kind of responsibility or independence. And I don't know whether that's good or bad. Maybe some women prefer that, okay? But that means you would forever be living in a state of infanthood. You know, you would never really you never really mature as an adult because you would always be under somebody's care and control.
But don't you think, Elsa, as Asian women, we are always, I mean, for me at least, or I think a lot of women are taught to just find a rich man and then just, or even not a rich man, just marry and have kids and then be stable for the rest of your life. I think in this kind of context, it's still in the infanthood, right? As what you said, because you never get to experience outside what is planned, the society has planned for you.
Yeah, that's right. So yes, that's certainly the message. That was a very clear message when I was growing up. That
So at that point when you realize in your 20s, I mean, you're still so young. I mean, like you were this princess and then suddenly from heaven you fell to hell. How did you feel at the end, at that point? Like, did you feel, now of course as you look back, like this is such a great lesson, right? At that point, how did you feel?
Well, even though I fell, it wasn't a very hard fall because the fall was cushioned by the fact that we had a huge extended family. My grandfather and grandmother took care of us, and I was living in my grandfather's extended household with my uncles, aunties, and cousins. So I never really felt alone, and we were very well provided for because my grandfather was quite a wealthy, had a trading company in those days. So we were extremely comfortable. So I only had to deal with my father's mess. The fact that his house was occupied by his live-in partner, and and we had to go to see lawyers to kind of get this case settled, and that took something like 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 15 years. But I managed to lead a somewhat normal life. So even though it was, I was a yes. If I was living with my father, I would definitely be an ultra princess, right? But with my father gone, I still had a fairly comfortable life under my grandfather. So I never really, really, really bothered very much about money, even when I was in my 20s, because everything was well provided for. It was only until I realized that I wasn't going to that of course I was hoping that I would marry Mr.
Somebody rich.
And that he would take care of me, and I won't have to. I can take life easy and all that. But Mr. Wonderful didn't show up. Okay, and it was only until my 40s, when I turned 40, that I had a wake up call, and I realized that uh, no one was going to come and rescue me. Okay, no one was going to take care of me.
So
And
you were in this circle for 20 years, from the 20s to 40s. So 20 you were
yeah,
circling around looking for somebody to come and save you?
yeah, and because losing my father was very, very traumatic, because
Mm.
any woman's first love is always her father,
Mm.
and losing that, I love that a lot. And
Mm.
I was close to him, even though he was hardly ever around. So when I lost him, I wanted to find another man
To
as a replacement.
substitute him.
Yeah, as a replacement. And so I was looking for love in all the wrong places, and I had a lot of relationships that didn't work out at all. So so when I didn't have any so in a way I envied my friends. Some of my friends married very well. They really married Mr. Wonderful, who are able to provide everything and easy life and everything. And I envied them. I said, hey, why can't I ever meet that
Mm. Mm.
that wonderful guy who can provide me with everything? Why must I struggle? I
Mm.
used to think life was so unfair.
Mm.
But now, looking back with perspective, I realized that the struggle was good for me.
So what
I
was
was,
your wake up call? You said you had a wake up call. What was the situation?
well, the situation was around about my late 30s. Uh, I had a series of relationships that were serious enough for me to consider marriage.
Right.
And there was this person whom I was seriously consider marrying, but in the end, I realized that we were totally incompatible, and he um, he had some issues of his own, and he uh, he was very possessive and in a way controlling, and he wanted me to be with him all the time. He would get upset if I had my own friends, my own activities. So it made me realize that, hey, why why do women want to um
Cage
it's
themselves.
yeah, is marriage really so important
Mm.
that you want to tie yourself to and make compromises and tie yourself to someone uh who doesn't really want you to be yourself.
Mm.
They want you to be who they want you to be, right?
Mm. Mm.
Uh, they they want a version of you that suits them.
Mm. Mm.
They they don't want you to be yourself, to
Mm.
be to have your own friends, to have your own um, maybe your
So he
own
wants
bad.
to put you in a box to make him happy.
Yeah,
His
that's right.
happiness is above yours.
Yeah. Then I suddenly realized that it's useless to look for someone to take care of you, because basically any good relationship starts with a relationship of equals. You really have to find someone who really loves you for who you are. Um, uh, Bad uh, spots and all.
Mm. Mm.
All
Mm.
the good sides of you as well as the bad sides of you. Someone who can see you for who you really are, both good and bad, and still want to love you and live with you. you know and so it was so difficult. For it took me a long time to realize that. And then when I realized that, there was still a part of me that still wanted to be in a relationship, right? Um, but the thing about when you don't really have a very good model of what a good relationship is,
Mm,
because I came from a broken home. My
mm,
parents were unhappy, which is why they divorced early.
mm,
My
mm,
father was hardly around. He was an absentee father. I really didn't have much of a relationship with my mother. So when you don't really have good role models
mm,
when you are young, um, this is what happens. You
mm,
end up being very confused and
mm,
lost, as I
mm,
was.
mm.
And when you're very confused and lost, you end up making lots of mistakes. So I made a lot of mistakes, and 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 that's why I'm doing the kind of work that I'm doing today, because I just feel that having made all my mistakes, it's now my calling to really coach people and really talk to them about some of their issues.
Yeah, I know you said early on about, I mean, you're already in your 50s, you have nothing to prove. I mean, even doing this is getting outside the comfort zone for you, and then
Yeah,
there's, it's scary. Of course, when you're embarking on something new, it's scary. And I love how you say, I'm in my 50s and I have nothing to lose. What's there to
yeah,
lose?
exactly. Because, I mean, the great thing about being single is that you have the freedom to design your life the way you want, and now
So
I
are you
view,
closing the doors to that Mr. Wonderful?
I'm not exactly closing the doors, the
Mm,
door is still there, it's
mm.
still open, but I'm not kind of,
But now you know better, know
yeah,
what to expect.
yeah, I'm
So
not,
I was going back to say, like, um you keep saying about as having perspective. Women are so afraid of growing old, but it's by growing old you gain experience and gain perspective of who you want to be and who you are.
yeah, exactly. And really, I think the tragedy is a lot of women, once they get married and they have children. I'm not saying all women, but I'm saying quite a number of women, once they get married and have children, they invest maybe 200% of their time on their children and on their family, and they kind of stop learning,
Mm.
right? Many married women stop learning, and they stop learning about the world. They stop learning about a lot of things, and and even some single women as well. They stop learning. They seem to think that, okay, I
I'm all set for life now. Now that I have a husband, I have my kids. Okay, my destiny is done.
yeah, exactly, and yet and then some of them get frustrated, but they don't
Yeah.
know why. They don't know.
I
They
think
don't know the source of the frustration.
not only frustrated, they have a codependent relationship with their children. Like,
Yeah.
I've sacrificed so much for you. How dare you do this to me? And this goes back to our mother and daughter relationship, right? Like,
Uh,
gosh, I wrote this recently. Not all mothers are born to love,
yeah.
right? Not all mothers know how to love. Because as
Yeah.
you said early on about how women in that generation didn't know how to love.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, many women of our mother's generation, they basically marry because they were told that that's the right thing to do.
For survival.
I remember when I was a young woman, my
Hmm.
relatives telling me a woman should never be single. You
Hmm.
have to find someone quickly and settle down. I remember my uncle telling me that in a very serious voice.
Like,
And
seriously,
very,
I mean, when you get married, if you don't get married, people ask you why you're not getting married. Then once you get married, like, when are you having children? Once you have one
yeah.
child, like, oh, when are you having the second one? Like, once you have the second one, when are you having the third one? And so now I have three kids, like, girls. When are you having a boy? Like, it never ends.
Well, the good news, it does end. In my case, it ended when I was in my 40s,
Hmm.
or when I turned 40, and and anyway, I realized that when I visit my relatives, they don't ask me the same question anymore. Partly because they feel, well, at 40, she's somewhat over the hill. It's very hard for her to find someone. so they don't ask me that question anymore. And as time went by, I realized that two of my younger cousins, female cousins, they also remain single, you know. So I think it's getting easier with time. But in the good old days, yes, it was a woman's duty to marry and, have children. So a lot of women find themselves in that role, and then they never get to really experience what it is like outside of marriage. And if their husbands are wonderful husbands, great. They are happy, they're contented, they're happy being wives and mothers. But if the husband is really abusive, really a horrible guy, then they are going to feel sorry for themselves. Then they're going to think, well, why did I sacrifice my life being married to this guy who doesn't love me and who treats me badly?
So what do you have to say to women right now who are single and still feel shit about themselves, who feel like they still need a man?
Okay, so um, well, okay, you still need a man. Well, you have to ask yourself, why do you need a man? Is it you want that, I mean, in a way it's natural. All of us want that intimate relationship with someone, right? We need to feel close. We like to be cuddled. It's very natural. Okay. And if you don't have that, rather than waste time moaning about that, you can spend your energy in other areas, because this area of this thing about intimacy, you can develop intimacy with other things. You can develop intimacy with a dog. Okay, I know that's a poor substitute. Yeah, a lot of people have very close relationships with their pets, right? If you love children, you can go and volunteer and take care of children, and you can develop an interest in
Building your business.
subject or some other interest, because life doesn't stop. If you don't have uh, a partner or lover, it doesn't mean that life stops. Life doesn't stop.
Does that mean there's something wrong with you? I think most women feel like they need a man, as like what your uncles and your relatives say, because a woman needs a man. Like, if without a man, there's something wrong with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you
Well,
feel there's something wrong with you?
no. I mean, I'm a Christian, and if you kind of go back to the Bible, there's a chapter where Paul, he actually said that it's good to be married, right? If you're burning for passion for one another, let's say you have a partner, or you have a man who's interested in you and you're interested in him, you really, let's say you really desire him, you feel that he's the one and he feels you're the one, and you both match, that's fine, get married, right? But if let's say you remain single, then be happy with that too, because if you because you can be happy, you can do so many things as a single person that a married person cannot, right? and and a lot of people, they think that they need to be married because society tells them um that they have to get married. But once they are married, you just interview some of the married folks. Once they get married, the marriage is not a bed of roses. There will be times when you really wish that you're free. Yeah, because there are so many things which you're not able to do on your own without having to consult your husband or partner. Okay, so there's always pros and cons in every situation. And in fact, I read somewhere that uh, single women are really happier than married women actually.
I think so. I think it's like a phase because when you're in 20s, everything is about love, about the
Yeah.
good looking guy, the cars and everything. And then once you hit your 30s, it's more like a process. Like 30s, you're like, this is the time where you actually grow up in your 30s. Like I'm like almost 40 now. I'm end of the 30 cycle. And then 40 is, I feel, when I was in my 20s, I was so afraid to turn 30. Like,
Hmm.
oh my god, the big three. Oh my god, I'm gonna die soon, But now I'm hitting 40 soon, right? Like, oh my god, this is the beginning of my life. Like, I feel so sure. I feel so confident in myself. I mean, confidence is it's kind of like a state of mind. Some days I feel confident, some days I don't. But it just feels so different.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, that's right. And I think you see, the problem is women have been made to feel like they are failures if they don't
Mm,
land a Mr. Wonderful, right? I
right.
mean, we always set up standards for ourselves, right? And even in movies like Sex in the City, right? Uh, Carrie Bradshaw, the title character, she has to marry a Mr. Big, right? She can't marry a Mr. Small, right? And I remember one episode where she was showing off a huge diamond, and all her girlfriends were going, and and this is the kind of thing that feeds into our imagination,
Mm,
and we kind of adopt them for ourselves. We feel that, oh, it plays on our
right.
subconscious.
Mm,
And then when you see that you don't have those things, you have a less than perfect partner, or you can't even find a partner because you can't find a Mr. Big. You don't know any Mr. Bigs, and they're not going to give you any diamonds. You think of yourself as a failure.
mm,
But there's so much more to life, for women, there's so much more to life. So I would urge single women to really open their eyes, spread their wings, because if you open your eyes, spread your wings, and really go and look at what you can do to help the world, to
mm,
help people around you, how you can contribute with your own special talents, uh, Mr. Right will show up.
yeah.
Mr.
Right.
Wonderful will show up, and he will show up for all the good, all the best reasons in the world. He will show up because you are being at your best. You are being
Mm,
yourself.
mm, mm.
You're trying to be someone else. You're not trying to be this weak, submissive little woman trying to please everybody. If you are that weak, submissive woman trying to please everybody, you will attract a certain kind of man,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
you will attract the kind of man who will not see your potential. He will
Mm.
see you as that little weak little woman whom he can control. Do
So
you
was that you that you actually met that dude that almost married you? Were you
Yeah,
that woman?
in
Like
a
you were like,
way, in a
oh, like
way. Yeah, in a way. And I looked up to him because he was everything I was not. He was good in his career. He was dynamic. He was,
you
he
said
was
you made a good
decisive.
point. You made a good point. Like he was everything that you're not, but you wanted to be, right?
Yeah. I
Did
mean, no, I wanted someone strong, someone macho, like
because you wanted
a
someone to
family kind
protect,
of man. Yes.
right, to protect you. So you
Yeah.
didn't see that within yourself. So therefore you were projecting out that someone else is going to, but then everything is within yourself. You are this strong, I mean, you're not macho now, but you're this strong, confident woman, exactly what you wanted in a man, and you possess those qualities now. And so if the same dude were to show up, like, why would I need you when I can take care of myself? So therefore an equal has to then come in. Then it's
Yeah.
not a codependent relationship anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So my advice to single women is, yeah, just be your best self. Go out there and do things that God designed you to do,
Mm,
because you have so much that in you, that there's a lot of potential in you that you've yet to explore, right? And a lot of women, they stop they stop themselves from learning because they think that, I don't need to learn anymore once I get once I'm comfortable, but that's not true. Yeah.
It is not true. I mean, if you stop learning, you're kind of like on the process of dying because then there's no growth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's right.
Thank you so much, Elsa, for this conversation. It's so eye-opening, so honest, and I think also your message is there's nothing wrong with you, and God has a plan for you. I mean, He wants you to have love, but perhaps right now is for you to discover who you are and then be at the right space so that right guy can show up for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So I know you've just revamped your website, so tell us, what is your website and where can we find you?
You can find me at www.moneyfitcoach.com. Okay, and right now I'm offering anyone who has something to discuss, they can reach out to me and for a 30-minute free coaching session. Yeah, just a free chat, and to see how I can help you in any of the issues that you're facing. Because even though I call myself Money Fit Coach, I find that many of our money issues and money problems are also very closely wrapped up with the way we view ourselves, our confidence issues, emotional issues. It all comes out in the way we handle our money as well. So money, the fact that you feel that you don't have enough money is a symptom that maybe something in your life isn't really working right. So I help you to identify what that is and to deal with it.
Money is something that we all want, but sometimes it's uncomfortable to have. Like I was just telling Elsa early on, like when I had the money, I was so afraid of losing it. And then finally when you lose it and you're like, I have actually manifested that because I keep thinking I'm so afraid of losing it. But then when you don't have it and then you're like, it's like you're back to comfort zone, but then you're not comfortable being it, but this is where you are because that's where your default is, and that's wired very deeply conditioned by society, by watching people telling you what you need to do with your money. So it's a relationship with money. So it's a great offer. So please schedule a call with Elsa if you actually feel, oh my God, I need to talk about money with someone who has got no emotional attachment to money, which is good, because if you're talking to someone with emotional attachment with money, then you're going to go into a pity party altogether, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you.